What is going on, everybody, and welcome to another Beta Memoirs. And today we had another interesting day. We are essentially waiting for the debt ceiling uh, in that debate and where that stands. But nonetheless, till we wait, we have till tomorrow. So the big move, I think, ultimately will come tomorrow. That is, if things get straightened out. Pelosi did come on later in the day and say that they were trying to essentially kick the can down the road and try to see if they can suspend it for longer. But we hear a lot of words, we don't see a lot, so it's ultimately an action. I wouldn't actually be surprised if we don't hear anything during the day. I'm sure we're going to hear a lot of rumors tomorrow about the debt ceiling being signed and being close to signed, and then it probably actually won't get signed till probably late into the evening, if at all. Ultimately, I think it will be signed, but we have to remember the government will eventually shut down on Friday if it isn't signed by Thursday. I think it's a strong possibility, but it's just they have until the 18th. It's something I talked about. And so this thing is going to linger over us on and off. We're going to get a lot of pump and dumps like we've been doing for the past couple of days. The volatility isn't going to go away. Like I said, I kind of expected some kind of volatility to happen through between the beginning of this week until essentially the 15th of October. Now the 18th is when we run out of money. That's what Janet Yellen is saying. So nonetheless, we also got a lot of options coming to expiration on the 15th of October as well. So everything's kind of playing in. That kind of gives us essentially right into earnings is when that leads us into. And so being said, we want to see what comes tomorrow. Tomorrow, if it's not signed, I could see us selling more. So that's something you need to be prepared for. And realize that news can come out and say it's signed after it may come out and start selling, and then the news come out and say that it's signed, and then we'll rock it back up. So we need to be very vigilant and maybe even take the day off tomorrow because of that. I tried to get stuff done. My scalp's done in the morning, and if I try to take any like longer positions, I'll do that throughout the day. But more than likely tomorrow, I might just wait to see. A lot of times it's better to wait and see. Essentially, the whales are waiting to see what happens with the money at this point. Once they know for sure if it's everything signed, suspended, the debt ceiling suspended, then they'll move the money in, and you'll definitely be able to tell when that happens. So, being said, Powell did come on today, and Powell was at the European Central Bank. They were talking about that at the forum there. Had a lot of interesting information, essentially just about if inflation was transitory or not. So the whole inflation thing. And he did come out and say yesterday that he wasn't sure if it was transitory. So this whole thing going back and forth, he's seeing it in different sectors where it will rotate into the travel sectors, and then it would dissipate from that point. So that's what he's kind of figuring is going to happen. Again, it's all thrown up in the air because if we're going into the winter season, normally when people get sick, so you get the variant. So there's a lot of different aspects in here, so there's no straightforward answer. You can't really give a straightforward answer. People are going to hold you accountable for that. And then realize that there's so many different variables that are out of your control that you can't give a direct answer because you don't know. And to say that you do, you'd be lying. So so nonetheless, we have to see what happens with the debt ceiling stuff. That is what's driving the market right now. The Evergrande stuff is on and off, but I don't think it's directly affecting anything. This is all to do with the debt ceiling and where the whales are going to place their money, because if they don't know for sure, they are not placing their money back in the market until they know. Because of that very small chance that we do not actually pay, right? If we don't suspend the debt ceiling and we default, that is going to lead to more catastrophic leveling of the markets. And so being said, the big whales, big money will not put their money at risk, even for that 1% chance that it doesn't pass. Yes, it's been passed so many years and we haven't defaulted yet. But if it does happen, it's going to be catastrophic. And so that is what they are waiting on until it gets approved. When it gets approved, then they'll place their money in the market. This happens pretty much every year. So, being said, let's see. From this point on, tomorrow again, no real watch list. Like I said, we popped out. We've been playing the same thing, kind of selling off. Even today, we kind of pushed up, then sold off. Then a pretty big red candle that last power hour. And so I expect this just to sit flat, to be honest, unless there's news that comes up overnight. I don't really see this moving. I think we're just going to play this tight range again until we hear something. Or if tomorrow it does not get past, that's what I'm talking about tomorrow. Tomorrow, if it does not get past before close, I think we're going to sell a lot. Or again, if there's some news overnight, we could sell or go up from that point. So it's really waiting on that. Again, data and all that stuff really doesn't matter at this point. We had Powell today. The market really didn't care too much about what he said. Yeah, it shifted the market here and there briefly, but ultimately it was just trying to stay in range or wait to see what happens with its debt ceiling. So tomorrow, again, we really want to watch and see FANG. Google has really been taking a beating. I know they've had some bad news yesterday too, so it's really interesting. Google, I think, will bounce. Google is one of those ones that will bounce back fast, just like Tesla. Tesla actually hasn't really sold. Tesla's really just been playing this range. I had this breakout set here, and yes, it did pop this morning. Kind of give a retest there off the 50, but then it's just really just playing range. And especially with all the selling going on and everything else, Tesla and your Apples are holding extremely well. So as soon as the market figures out what it's doing, especially if it's positive news, Tesla's going to start running again. That's very obvious what's going on here because this is a typical Tesla move. It has that bullish run and starts consolidating and wanting to break out, but it can't because there's the market sentiment is not quite there yet. And then it'll typically break up from there unless, again, there's for whatever reason the debt limit isn't suspended, then it could go down to 200 by that point, right? So this is something we need to keep in mind, and something why it's good to not always play every day. It's good to know fundamentals and what is going on in the market because it does make a dramatic impact on what's going on, as opposed to just trying to be a technical trader. Because technical trader, you can be getting chopped around, not knowing what's going on. And it's better sometimes to just sit out and wait and see what happens first, and then make your move after you know for sure what is going on. Again, because that's what big money is doing. Apple, again, shopping. I just like Tesla, but it's at a lower level here. So it'll be interesting to see. A lot of these look pretty bad on the daily, so we don't really want to jump to the daily. I mean, they've already taken quite a beating. A lot of these are coming closer to the 200. Facebook has actually been holding extremely well right here. Facebook actually looks just like the market, to be honest. Microsoft is taking a kind of a beating, but chopping around. QQQ has actually come, or SQ has come extremely close to the 200. I really like SQ, especially going into earnings, as long as the market doesn't completely give out. This is definitely what I want to get into on the turnaround. Snap is another one. This one's actually kind of been slow bleeding out the past couple of days. Actually look for this at the 70 mark tomorrow. If the market doesn't sell too bad, that's really what matters. You can get a first bounce out of here, which I'll probably set for tomorrow. But ultimately understand if the market really starts to crater tomorrow, if it doesn't get signed, the market might start to crater or at least go another leg down. I don't know about crater. I don't think we're going to crash. We won't crash unless for some reason we do default, which won't be until we won't know until later in October. But if it doesn't sign, I can see us at least getting another leg down. That would essentially put us at the 70 buy zone for me on Snap. So that's what I'm looking for. Amazon at the 200. Again, everything's right at good support. Something to keep in mind. Again, I wouldn't load up if you can. I think, again, I don't think it's going to be terrible, but there's always that possibility. So you have to keep that in mind. But shop close to support. A lot of these, again, just so close. Affirm is coming back down to the 20, testing the 20 daily. The NVIDIA, they broke the 50. It's going further down. Trying to see here. SE is actually, it broke the 50. It's headed down. Roblox, I caught this little pump today, tried to get in and then stopped out earlier, but it's hovering around that 200. This next zone is essentially around that 3073 mark, is a good zone for me. Also has support on this trend line as well. So that's something I want to watch. But that's pretty much what I got. I know this video isn't too long, or it is getting kind of long, but there's a lot going on with the market, and everybody is waiting tomorrow. So it's just being patient and seeing. We don't know for sure when something's going to be announced. It has to be done by tomorrow. Will it be done by close of business tomorrow at the bell? Probably not. If it's not, I would expect the market to sell until it gets the news and then might gap up if it does pass. But you have to be aware that it may not. It may. I'm pretty sure it'll probably last all the way till before midnight, before anything gets signed. Possibly even government closure on Friday, bringing it into next week. So, and if that's the case, expect a lot more volatility next week. So tomorrow's the big day. We want to see what happens. Again, sell bias till tomorrow until we figure out what is exactly going on. But if we do get good news, I can see us quickly turning and going back to all-time highs leading into earnings. So that's something else to keep in mind. So if you've made it this far, remember to hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't done so. Until next time, I'll see you guys later.